Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports. Today is beautiful June 15th, 2016. The $1 Million Show coming to you worldwide every Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Charlton and Big C Sports. Big C, you know we got so much going on. We got the golf happening. Everyone's talking about Draymond Green and Cleveland and Las Vegas. I think they like to have 7 games. And the more I think about it, Big C, you know, we might be looking at 7 games, but also football is getting into the swing of things. We're looking at college football. There's already articles written about USC and their game coming up against Alabama. And as you know, Big C, the NFL, it seems to be a year-round event right now, Big C. So how are things going for you in the South, Big C?
Well, you know, Southern football is where football began and where football is played, Charlton. Everybody else watches what goes on down here. But when you talk about conferences getting their own network, basically the SEC did that first, Charlton. They went into partnership with CBS. Vern Lundquist doing their games along with Gary Daniels every week, and this has been going on for a couple of decades, so everybody else is following suit to the best conference in America.
Well, I beg your pardon, Big C, because actually it was the great Catholic school called Notre Dame that got NBC to sponsor all their football games. So I think NBC, they prayed that Notre Dame would take them, and Notre Dame actually beat the SEC to the punch. But Notre Dame set the standard for all.
We only talk about an individual, Charlton. We're talking about an entire conference of wealth. Okay. Notre Dame is one school that stands by itself to the side, but you know they actually started off college football on a replay back in the 60s. They used to replay their games, and they were condensed down to 1 hour.
Yeah.
The great Lindsey Nelson used to broadcast those games, Charlton, on NBC on Sunday morning prior to the NFL pregame show.
So what is Notre Dame? I guess they say that prayer matters because Notre Dame's been praying, even though they haven't won a national championship since they played Lou Holtz, since he was there, and I think they beat West Virginia, and I still remember that game because there were people saying, why don't they give Miami the rematch? I think there was a 31-30 score where they beat Miami, and they wanted nothing else to do with Miami because Miami lost to Notre Dame at South Bend. There was no way they were going to play them on a neutral field, and they had something that was egregious called the Catholics versus the convicts. So Notre Dame has always been, doing things on the up and up, Big C. But they wanted nothing but the rematch.
That was one of the more controversial endings in college football history, where it looked like Miami may have crossed the goal line, but as we know, there was no instant replay back in those days. But that play still resonates throughout the University of Miami, and when you go back, and everybody who's seen the replays since then has said they crossed the goal line, but they were playing in Notre Dame, a home game.
Wait, Big C. Are you saying that home field matters more than just not having to travel? You're trying to say there was some home cooking in that game, Big C?
I don't know if it was home field, but I think the officials had to go to church after the game,
Well, when you got touchdown Jesus attending your games, when you think about college football, and I know we talk a lot about the USC-Alabama game for the Kickoff Classic, and USC has the white horse, Alabama has the elephant. Notre Dame, they're actually bold enough to say that Jesus is on their side, Big C, but I didn't know that Jesus wore pinstripes, Big C. I agree.
As they say, Charlton, he comes in many shades, and you don't know who's looking at you, so, he may have some influence. I wouldn't say he doesn't have influence over some of these NBA officials, Charlton, the way they've been calling games.
Oh, my goodness. I know we're talking about all the sports business, and actually I just want to say that this segment is being sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer, home of the all-new Escalade, the standard of the world, and you can only get it there brand new at your Northern California Cadillac dealer. And when you're test driving it, make sure you tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, when you talk about the officiating, and we know we're going to go in and out of the college football because I'm excited about football. It's about 90 days from kickoff here for the college football season. But I do know when we talk about the NBA and Golden State and Cleveland, I'm excited to see Game 6. I actually thought it'd be over in 6 games. It's just a shame that if Golden State wins, it'd be nice to see them win in Oakland. They haven't done that in a long time. In fact, when they won last time, they won in Chicago, but they won in D.C., and then they also won in Cleveland last year. In fact, tomorrow's the 16th. They won the championship last year on the same date as tomorrow's game, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I look at how all the outside influences get involved in an NBA game, Charlton. To call the flagrant on on Green.
Yeah.
Really after the sack, Charlton, and he was baited. And I can't even say he was baited into the situation.
It's just part of the game.
He was antagonized into the situation, Charlton, because as a player and as far as top athletes go, you're entitled to your space on the floor, okay?
Yeah.
Now, that space above him was not entitled to LeBron James to flagrantly step over. That was an intentional act by LeBron James. Anybody else, Charlton, in the NBA would have been hit with a technical foul.
Yeah.
But it was LeBron James, and they said it was an act of playing. No, it wasn't. He knew what he did. It was a premeditated act on his behalf. But the officials and the league allowed him to get away with it because they're doing everything that they can, Charlton, to bring a championship to Cleveland.
Yeah.
This is the future of the league and his legacy, allowing him to do this. Now, he and Kyrie Irving went out and pumped in 80 points. Great performance offensively by those two great players.
Yeah.
You know, you can't knock him on that. I mean, he had a night of nights in playoffs.
Yeah.
But you got to go back and look. I think there's some separation now in the team because of that infighting that they've had. You know, you've ostracized Kevin Love. Tyronn Lue really doesn't have a say-so. You played one game lights out, okay?
Yeah.
That's how you got to look at it. You did all you can. Now, what happened the last time Cleveland won a game, Charles? What happened in the following game? Golden State came out and handled business. You got to look at Golden State. They took their foot off the pedal in that game, Charles. They didn't play lights out. They rested. They coasted through that game. Cleveland had to win the game. Golden State could stay healthy even though they lost Andrew Bogut.
Yeah.
But they get Draymond Green back. And look at the 11 guys that they have that they played throughout this championship, Charlton.
Yeah.
They have no shortage on their bench. That's what Cleveland really has to worry about tomorrow night.
Well, when I think about what you're saying, and I think they were tied at 61 apiece going into halftime, Big C, and then in the second half, it's as if Golden State, I won't say they laid down, but there were so many times, and I'm not being a homer either. I know you're going to send me those pom-poms. In fact, I'm still waiting on them, Big C. I check the UPS every day. They said there's no sign of pom-poms coming from the south or the west coast.
Well, what's talking? We're gonna add one of them little skirts in there.
I want a hula skirt.
I don't know if they're wearing hot pants or not, but I know they're wearing skirts, so we can get you one of those.
I will definitely wear one of those skirts, man. But, you know, ironically, when I look at what happened in that game also, there were times when I think Steph Curry is probably injured. He had an ice pack wrapped around his shoulder, and someone said, would you have in some type of soldier procedure when the season's over? And he said, no, what makes you ask me that? But he has a big ice wrap on his shoulder. But, you know, no one's healthy this time of year. I do believe that the game is allowed to be physical. Cleveland's the more physical team. Even though they're the most physical team, they also go to the free throw line more. But whatever it takes, like Magic Johnson said when they were playing the Celtics back in the 80s, I want to thank the league for giving us 7 games. And ironically, Las Vegas has Cleveland as a 2.5-point favorite. That's the line today. Maybe that's because Bogut's not going to be in there, but I think they're actually better off without Bogut, my opinion. And the over-under is 207.5. I don't see LeBron James and Kyrie Irving both hitting for 82 points in the next game coming up. In fact, I think they're shooting themselves out. I don't see Golden State being so horrible shooting the ball in the second half either. But, Big C, there's always that one thing you talk about that I never really believed. I think Las Vegas wants 7 games, Big C, and ironically, I do too, because I love the game.
From a fan's perspective, that's what you want to see. But right now, from a Golden State perspective, that's not what they're looking forward to. Golden State is going to come out and just play small ball, Charlton. They're going to run. They're going to run a rotation in and out of the lineup, and they're just going to run. They're just going to gas Cleveland. Yeah. You know, Cleveland, you're going to lose your big guys. The biggest guy that's going to be playing is going to be LeBron. Yeah. Now, you got LeBron having to play in the post as well as playing out on the wing. Yeah. There's only so much legs this old man has. Yeah. And when Golden State runs 11 guys at him, there's only so much defense he can play. He makes a highlight play from time to time. Oh, yeah. But, you know, when he knocks down a 3, the whole arena is electrified. Well, but you gotta compare that against the plethora of threes that Golden State will knock down, Charlton. That's the difference in the game. You might get a dunk, but if I come out and fire for 3, you still 1 point behind, Charlton. Oh, yeah, and when you talk about the shooting the threes, you know, we all expect Curry and Thompson to have great games, Big C. But Harrison Barnes, when he hits his threes, now Draymond Green, he's back in the game. He's usually good for about 3 to 4 3-point baskets in a game, along with his rebounds and steals. He's also great in the assist. However, they did lose by 30 points against Cleveland when they had Draymond last time, but I don't think that's going to happen again. I look for a competitive game,
And again, I always see the same thing with the Oklahoma City series with Golden State. The team that goes to the free throw line the most, you can tell they're getting the favor of the calls, because I don't see Curry as a unanimous MVP, and obviously he's being outplayed by Kyrie Irving. I mean, hands down, he still might be the unanimous MVP, but I think Kyrie Irving has shown the whole world, if he doesn't have to take a back seat to LeBron James, he's actually a lot better player for Cleveland than LeBron is. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, we talk about Curry in this series. So much has been focused around him.
Yeah.
But even last year, Charlton, in the championship series, Iguodala was the MVP. And I didn't expect Curry to be the MVP this year in the playoff series, because you have such a diverse team of talent. I mean, you have Andre Bergeron, who may play a huge role in this upcoming game, because he can come in, you can spin him off with 4 or 5 fouls, Charlton, and it's not going to hurt the team. So you can bring some people in for Golden State and be physical with Cleveland. Yeah. And it's actually going to be a benefit to Golden State to have some of these guys get fouls, wear down players. It's okay. I mean, Cleveland's been going to the line a plethora of times throughout their entire playoff series. Yeah. Not just against Golden State, but against Toronto. Yeah. And so Indiana, this is a team that has gotten the advantage of going to the free throw line. That's what the officials have done, Charlton, to help Cleveland out to slow down the game. Yeah. Because they don't have the legs to run with these younger teams. Indiana was much younger. Toronto was much younger. Golden State is definitely much younger and faster. Yeah. So if you're sending Cleveland to the line, then you're taking away the advantage that these younger and faster teams have had on the court, Charlton. And you've seen that in the wins that Cleveland has had.
Well, when I look at the Golden State, another big guy for them that plays well is Festus Ezeli, a dominating rebounder, just has to stay more in the paint. I think Golden State is great when they go into the basket, and so that's going to help them a lot. And obviously, Curry can't be the only three-point threat they have. I think when he doesn't shoot well, sometimes just give the ball to Klay Thompson. He had a heck of a first half in that game, and they stopped going to him in the second half, Big C. Again, that's my cynicism saying Las Vegas wanted to see more games, but anyone can be touched. And so when it comes to that, I know that Steve Kerr, he has some injuries. He's still not 100% healthy. And they have Walton, who's looking to go to L.A. for his new job down for the Lakers. But in this series, when I look at Cleveland and the atmosphere that you have at that arena, and what's leading me to pull to the fact that Cleveland may just win this game, I mean, anyone can say who's going to win the game. But I just think that home cooking really matters. We talked about Notre Dame and their miraculous calls against Miami that went against Miami back in the day when the Lou Holtz was coaching there. And I don't take it lightly at all, Big C, that people can be had, people can be touched. And when people say, well, how do you think a game could not be called fair and square, right? You know, when big money gets involved, all it takes is 1 or 2 people to decide, hey, this was not a foul or this was a foul. And this instant replay thing, I think, get rid of it, because we could all see if there was a foul or not just by watching on the big screen. Big C, your thoughts on that?
But Charlton, as a fan, you're not supposed to be intelligent enough to recognize what goes on the court. Yeah. You got these highly trained professionals that are called officials, okay? Yeah. In these professional leagues that are supposed to be experts. Even though, they can't see out one eye and they're blind in the other. So, at times, and they can play that with however they want. Yeah. So, I mean, it was like the mystery call against Draymond Green against LeBron to get him suspended for the next game. Yeah. Now, when Draymond got suspended, Charlton, you might as well just say the call the next score. They didn't even have to play the game. I think 98% of America knew that Cleveland would win that game regardless of what occurred. Yeah. Because Golden State played them heads up for the first half and then decided, hey, we need to back off and let Cleveland, go in on and win this game, for marketing, ratings, money, Las Vegas, whoever. Yeah. Everybody's influenced by cash. I don't care who you are.
Are you saying that money matters? Is that what you said? You're saying Las Vegas keeps the lights on without people getting money and betting the right team?
It's not just Las Vegas, Charlton. It's Wall Street who bets on the advertising and in the NBA. The NBA is traded just like any other organization. You say you got an owner team, but you don't know how that owner has that team bracketed out in Wall Street and what part of those shares are being sold. It happens all over the place. So everything is for sale in America, Charlton.
Yeah, especially you should know that coming from the SEC. In fact, I think USC Lynn Swan's requesting that the SEC officials not be allowed anywhere near the stadium for the Kickoff Classic. He wants officials coming from the Big Ten where they don't have to keep up with a lot of speed, Big C. So no SEC. I think you might be barred from the Kickoff Classic with Alabama plays USC. Big C, have you heard of that rumor at all?
Well, maybe they'll go up there and get some officials out of that conference that North Dakota played in, where Carson Wentz came from.
Oh yeah.
Where you don't have anybody in the conference that runs under a 4.5 40, Charlton, but you come down here to the SEC, and I mean, it's just like the NCAA track championships.
Yeah.
We all know the SEC wins it every year. Arkansas is always one of the favorites out of the SEC to win the NCAA track and field championship.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're looking at Alabama, everybody knows the name that's on the back of the Alabama shoes.
Yeah.
Okay? They learned how to read. They learned how to articulate the word Nike when they play Alabama.
Well, I still think that McCaffrey had over 5,000 yards of total offense for Stanford, and he came number 2 in the Heisman Trophy polls, Big C. Maybe some of the good old boys go to sleep before West Coast games kick off at 7 o'clock.
The real people who watch football and know football go to bed at a decent hour. You know, you got nice Christian families that got to get up and go to church on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So we don't have any time for that late bonanza that's going on the West Coast that they try to emulate as football.
Well, speaking of football, this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California BMW dealers, home of the ultimate driving machine. Go down and test drive the 1 Series all the way up to the super powerful 600 horsepower M7, also known as the 760 Li. And when you're test driving it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, also, Big C, when we talk about everything that's going on in the world of sports, we have baseballs going off very well. Again, we think about the great things that Muhammad Ali stood for, and we celebrated Muhammad Ali last week, and his legacy still lives on. I want to bring up again some of the things we were talking about, O.J. Simpson, the American story, and all that jazz. But I want to just bring up some thoughts that you were talking about one of the great actors in Bernie Casey. I know not only do we blend sports and Hollywood, but Bernie Casey had an illustrious career, Big C. Your thoughts on Bernie Casey?
You know, ironically, he played at Bowling Green University, Charlton, and he was the number 1 draft pick of a team out there in your neighborhood in 1961, the San Francisco 49ers. He was an All-American wide receiver. He had a 9-year career in the NFL, 7 with the San Francisco 49ers. He finished up with their arch rival, the Los Angeles Rams, Charlton. So, you know, he didn't have any favor doing that. But, you know, as many players who have played in Southern California, Charlton, you're right there in that Hollywood neighborhood. Yeah. Which allowed him to cross over into the acting genre. You know, Charlton, he really got going in the 70s. He got into a movie called Hitman. Yeah. Played in another movie, Boxcar Bertha, along with Cleopatra Jones. And he even crossed over into the James Bond series, Charlton, in 1983 when he played in Never Say Never Again. Yeah. And so he had a wide berth. He played in Kelly's Heroes. So he had a great career when you looked at acting. And he got into some satire movies. Everybody knows the Wayans brother, Keenan Ivory. Oh, Wayans, yeah,
very funny.
You know, David Wayans and family. Yeah. They did a movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, where he got an opportunity to act along with the great Jim Brown. You know, Jim Brown was in that movie with him. Singers such as Isaac Hayes, the late Isaac Hayes. Yeah. And so he crossed over and played with a wealth of actors and actresses, Charlton. Throughout his career, he was a tremendous football player. But this is what it does when life and opportunity meet each other, Charlton. And Bernie Casey has been an excellent example of that. There was one other movie that was a great movie when you think about it. In the genre that I like movies, Burt Reynolds, who's always been an underrated actor. Yeah. Bernie Casey played in a movie called Sharky's Machine that they shot down in Atlanta with Burt Reynolds, and he was a detective in that movie. But Bernie Casey always admired him as a player and as an actor and a great American citizen, Charlton.
Man, what are you, the mystic? How do you know all this stuff? There was no ESPN back in the day. You pulled up things from ancient history, Big C. So obviously you told me you watched Dora the Explorer, but obviously your knowledge goes a little bit deeper than that, Big C.
Well, you know, I love ESPN, Charlton. ESPN is a very knowledgeable platform for people who want to do research, Charlton. Yeah. Because there's no one on ESPN that was around to remember these great actors and athletes from back in the 60s and 70s, Charlton. This is an era when some of these people had not even been born in. Yeah. So, you know, they have a research staff, and they based on the popularity of the day. Yeah. I think anybody who respects professionals, regardless of the level that they've achieved, whether it's in acting, whether it's in athletics, Charlton, when you respect other professionals, and the work that they've done and the efforts that they've put forth. We all see the highlight center now.
Yeah.
But, it used to be when I grew up, you had to watch a whole game to get highlights.
Yeah.
So that was an educational series, Charlton. It's like the documentaries that they put on television now.
Yeah.
Anybody can turn on SportsCenter, watch 5 minutes, get all the scores and all the dunks and home runs right now.
Yeah.
But when you had to go to a baseball game,
you had to read. You had to read,
and sit in the bleachers for that whole 9 innings, and that game took 2.5, 3 hours to play back in the days, Charlton.
Yeah.
You learn the game. You learn the mechanics. You learn the professionalism. But now no one respects the game. When I used to watch pitchers as a kid, Charlton, go 9 innings.
Yeah.
And now a pitcher can go 6 innings and get a win, and they think he's a great pitcher.
Yeah.
You look at a basketball player, when you talk about team fundamentals, Golden State is as close to team fundamentals as we've seen in the NBA in a decade. Because they play the game. People want to compare them to Chicago Bulls. You realize it's been 18 years since the Chicago Bulls won an NBA championship, Charlton?
The Chicago Bulls are the officiated. The Michael Jordan rules was one of the reasons they won 6 championships out of 8 years, Big C. That's my own opinion, though. I mean, they earned it, obviously, but that push-off in the game against Utah, that was called the Michael Jordan
rules.
Yeah, so that's part of the Jordan rules, and obviously when the league wants to create a superstar, they can. I know they're trying to do that with LeBron James, but it may just be past his time, Big C. And speaking of past his time, before we get into this lightning rod subject, I just want to say that this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California Ford dealer. Go down and test drive the all-new F-150. They build it Ford tough. And when you're test driving it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Also, Beneath His Wings Foundation.org. Make a donation today. It's easy, it's fast, and secure. Also, donate to Charlton and Big C Sports and contact Cynthia Evans at CYNN Entertainment. When it comes to promotions, she's the best. And Northern California, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, I know that you're a golfer. Now, I don't mean to offend some of your friends down south because I know you guys all love Alabama football and all that jazz. But there's a golf tournament that's happening, and all the big players are talking about going there up in Pennsylvania. It's going to start on Thursday, and it's at Oakmont. Jason Day, they keep comparing him to Tiger Woods. I don't know how. I thought Tiger Woods had 14 majors. Day only has like 3, but he keeps getting better and better, but nowhere near Tiger Woods, Big C. They're still bringing Tiger Woods' names up because golf really misses the home run king. I know we talked about Ali, but Tiger Woods was to golf what Ali was to boxing. Are you into this golf tournament? I know Spieth is there. There's no McIlroy making his names again, but Day is a guy they're all talking about being the next Tiger Woods. I think that's a joke. No one's the next Tiger Woods, Big C. My opinion only, though.
Well, Charlton, he's close to him in complexion, so I guess that's the comparison that they're making. Okay. He's not blonde hair, blue eyes. He's dark complected with black hair. So I guess that's going to be his comparison. And he also wears a goatee, so that's his draw to Tiger Woods. But Tiger Woods set himself aside from the rest of the golf world.
Yeah.
That man is still so powerful. You have to mention him in every breath, and he hasn't played in a year.
Yeah, I thought he was playing in the tournament. They talked about him so much today on ESPN.
You would think that he would be the favorite going into the tournament. They do this. They mention Tiger Woods because without him, there's really no marketing of a tournament.
Yeah.
They have great players in golf, Charlton, but they have no marquee players. They've tried to make Jordan Spieth the marqueeism, but he hasn't drawn the consistency. He had a great year last year.
Yeah.
But he's fallen off the table a little bit this year. Even though he's won one tournament, he has not been the Jordan Spieth of 2015.
Yeah.
So what golf is hovering for, Charlton, and they're really hungry to get that marqueeism. And so by going with Jason Day, who has had a great start to the season, and he's the darkest complected golfer out on the course, so you got to draw those comparisons to him and Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
There's no Tiger Woods. That's like saying Jack Nicklaus, okay?
Yeah.
He's not there. Phil Mickelson is still in the tournament. Nobody talks about Phil as being the leader and the guy to catch.
Yeah.
Phil is a hanger-on. He's had a prolific professional career on the courses.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't see Arnold Palmer sitting out there, or at least Trevino, Charlton.
Yeah.
So Tiger Woods is on a level of his own. If he ever decides to come back to the game of golf will be better for it. But the young guns out there, without the consistency, it's week in, week out event on who's going to be on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and I agree with you very much, Big C. In this tournament, the defending champion is Jordan Spieth. And worth noting, Oakmont's hosting the U.S. Open for a record 9th time, dating back to 1927. You might know some of the sports events from 1927. Also, Big C, I don't even want to question you, but I know you might know something about the sports scene in 1927.
Well, Charlton, the last time someone won the U.S. Open back-to-back was 30 years ago, Charlton.
Yeah.
30 years ago, you think about that, Jordan Spieth wasn't even born. He wasn't even a twinkle in his daddy's eye.
Right.
So, to have a repeat winner, that's going to be a tall straw to get through, Charlton.
Yeah.
So, it's a wide-open event.
Yeah.
Golf has not had the luster in the past year and a half since Tiger has not been on top. But, hopefully he'll come back soon, and hopefully we'll have a competitive tournament this weekend in Oakmont.
Yeah, and they'll have that starting on Thursday. And it's great. Golf is great no matter where you're playing it, as long as you have some record names in there.
Hey, Charlton, tell me this. Can I buy a mulligan on the PGA Tour?
You sure can.
Get a couple of those.
Well, I think down in good old boy South, you get whatever you want because you guys have those officials and all those politicians in your back pocket. All you have to do is call Nick Saban. I know you guys roll around on the golf course every now and then, Big C.
Charlton, I didn't realize they had back pockets and overalls. I have to check my pants and see.
Well, final segment, kind of a lightning rod issue, but I just want to say this segment is sponsored by United Labor. We get $100,000 guaranteed life insurance, no medical questions asked. Also, Goosehead PNC Insurance, we're the best in the business. We beat about 98% of the competition. Also, I'm an insurance broker for One Life America. We're the leaders in final expense. Now, Big C, I want to bring this up to you because we just got through the Ali ceremonies and celebrating his life, and also we had the great Harry Edwards out of Cal who was talking about Ali and social stature, and also Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Hall of Famer, and of course the great Jim Brown talking about what people can do to honor Ali by being better today and reaching out to help the youth of today. Now I look at this series they're doing on ESPN, and John Skipper, he's the president of ESPN. They've had some great broadcasters come and go from ESPN. We're talking about Skip Bayless, talking about Mike Tirico. He's the latest to leave. Oberman was also there before. We know they've had a lot of great anchors for the sports leader. However,
and I really miss Charlie Steiner, who was there. Charlie Steiner was great, especially with boxing.
Yeah.
And Dan Patrick, who was a part of that family.
Yeah.
It's been a wealth of talent. The late Stuart Scott.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years ago.
He was the best.
ESPN has
Dick
Vitale.
Dick Vitale as well. He's amazing.
Has run so much talent through its studios that you have to respect him for that, if nothing else.
Well, I want to bring this up, Big C, because I'm infatuated with sports. I couldn't stop watching it if I wanted to. It's almost like having someone who runs around on you, but you like her, so you put up with it anyway. Now, I know that doesn't go on in the South, Big C, but some places out in California, people actually do that. But ESPN, and because John Skip is the president, we know it's more of a political thing. It's political season. They're bringing up OJ from 22 years ago. OJ hasn't scored a touchdown in 32 years, but they're still making it seem like he's still applicable to what's happening today. When I contrast that to what Harry Edwards talked about and Kareem, I think there's so many other things they could be talking about other than O.J. Simpson. Did he do it or did he not do it? But guess what I found out, Big C? Most of the people who are talking about what happened, they're attorneys. And you know what they're going to be doing? They're going to write books. So they're still making money on the tragedy that happened around O.J. Simpson. And we talk about how O.J. turned his back on whatever community he was supposed to represent. But I think the mainstream is always the one that opens doors. The same way they're opening doors for all these attorneys and TV stations to get more ratings over someone who's really been irrelevant for the last 20-some-odd years in sports, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, O.J. is as influential to black society as Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
When you want to draw the political comparison.
Yeah.
Both of them are train wrecks that everybody did not want to see. And from a black societal perspective, Charlton, O.J.'s impact was minuscule.
Yeah.
When you think about it in totality, as an athlete, yes, he was an athlete, but he was not the greatest black athlete, Charlton, of the 70s.
Yeah.
He had a couple 2,000-yard seasons, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a much better athlete, winning championships. Will Chamberlain was winning championships. Willis Reed was winning championships. Charlton, you go up and down the ledger. O.J. Simpson never played in a Super Bowl, so he didn't dominate the way that people want to dominate. He only dominated white society, Charlton, through their emotions.
Yeah.
As a spokesperson, he dominated them emotionally. As an afterlife athlete, Charlton, he dominated them emotionally. He did not dominate black society. We had a lot more influential people politically, socially. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, socially, athletically, everything. He was a graceful individual, but white society wanted to embrace O.J. because he was not abrasive like Ali.
Yeah.
He could stay in his place technically, as they say. He knows his place. Ali was too uppity and didn't know his place. But Ali was so many years ahead of his time, Charlton, as far as what he produced for society, not just African Americans, Charlton, for the world, for religion. This is what Muhammad Ali did. OJ never had an impactful thought like that on people. He was too busy being OJ, as they say. But for ESPN to take this opportunity to go out and take OJ
it's
and
pandering
put him
for
on
votes,
his pedestal
pandering
again.
for viewers,
Yeah, it's standing for viewers trying to get ratings because there's nothing significant that OJ did in African-American society that benefited African-American society. So when they take him and try to put him in the middle of all the racial injustice strife, Charlton, that occurred in the late 60s and early 70s to try to make him this iconic figure, you're really fishing, Charlton. All they're doing with OJ is to make white America insightful of something that happened over 20 years ago to rekindle hatred once again. That's all that's it. That's about rekindling hatred, Charlton. Nothing that's beneficial to us in society, okay?
Well, just touching on what Harry Evers talked about, Big C, and what I think it shows is really, you know, we talk about all the time how sports will bring our society together, and being silent about any issue does not make it better. And I think what's going to help our society get better is by talking about the oppressed and the oppressors, because the only way OJ got an opportunity, it was because the white men in society that run everything in society, whether it's banking or Hollywood, and it's just a fact, because they allowed him in, even though they allowed him in because he was a famous football player, they ostracized other black men who were just as talented. There was a time he talked about being invited to a golf course, and we talked about the U.S. Open, being invited to a golf course where Sidney Poitier was also invited to that golf course. Now, if you believe in W.E.B. Du Bois, they're called the talented 10th. They're the very wealthy and successful of any society. But it wasn't black people that did not fight for opportunity. It was the oppressed, the oppression that we face from a white society where there was police force, the law enforcement, that was oppressive to black Americans financially, educationally, and socially. But no one points the finger at the white society that ostracized black people and kept people from having the same opportunities. I think that's the most egregious thing out of this story. Whenever you talk about opportunity with OJ, there were so many people that when they were black, they were just told, no, we're not going to give you that opportunity. No, we're not going to allow you to have that role. And when Chris Rock is still talking about that at the Oscars, it was never black society that did not want to succeed. It was the white guys in establishment, the ones who can do something about it today, that chose to do nothing about it. There were always a few that did right, but for the most part, most of them said nothing because they were comfortable. Like we talk about Phil Knights, we talk about, you know, the guys who own these sports teams, whether it's someone that owns a hockey team or an NFL team or a basketball team, or if it's politicians, they're the ones who can make a change, not the people without power. So why not put the pressure on white establishment when Jim Brown is talking about giving back to the black community, Big C? Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, in the history of professional sports, how many blacks have owned teams in the major league? When you look at the NBA, you have Michael Jordan, a minority owner. That means he does not own the Charlotte Bobcats. He's a minority owner, Charlton. He has a piece of the action, just like a Magic Johnson has a piece of the Los Angeles Lakers, Charlton.
Yeah.
We don't have black owners, so we cannot make the change in professional sports. There's no one even in the front office in the NFL, Charlton, when we think about the NFL. What is it, 32 teams in the NFL?
Yeah.
There's nobody in the front office, Charlton, making any radical decisions financially. You look at Major League Baseball. Who's the black owner in Major League Baseball? And we once had a Negro League, Charlton, that was disbanded by Major League Baseball by taking all the young players, starting with Jackie Robinson, said, well, you know, we're trying to cross the color barrier. No, you were taking those 10 to 15,000 fans a game that was attending Negro League games, saying, hey, we got all the young talent here now. Now we'll let you into the white stadiums where you couldn't get in before. So they need to be honest about that. There's no blacks making decisions.
And see,
but what white America's doing, Charlton, to us all over again, is they're taking OJ, putting OJ out to say, hey, we gave one of you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And look what he did with it. You know, this is what happens when we let you guys join us.
Yeah.
You go out there and commit a crime. OJ was just what OJ was.
And
he's still today what he is because white society wants him to be that, Charlton. Black society lost thought with OJ back when he was in college.
And see that, and I think that's a good point, Big C. But I think an even bigger point is that John Skipper, who's the president of ESPN, and they're supposed to be the sports leader, Well, why aren't they doing stories on how the industry is still a racist industry? There might be a handful of African Americans that they allow to talk on TV, whether they're a reporter or whether they're someone that does play-by-play for a game. But when it comes to positions of power and ownership, why are they not talking about the structure of institutionalized discrimination that even ESPN participates in? Because instead of talking about how they can open doors and create scholarships for people of color, like the great Jim Brown is putting the onus on black athletes, no. I think Jim Brown is wrong in that. Put the onus on the structure, the system.
As they say, Charlton, they are the worldwide leader. They're a worldwide leader in ostracizing blacks and other minorities, as well as procreating white talent on air, Charlton. When you look at it, you're going to tell me that there's not enough African Americans for ESPN to be 50-50.
No.
But that's not what they're looking at.
Hey, they're not ready yet, Big C. Society's not ready for that yet. Can't you just play football and basketball and be happy?
I mean, yeah, they'll put an analyst in, okay? So you bring a former athlete in as an analyst.
Yeah.
Why can't you use black play-by-play guys? You have Mark Jones on there. That's about it. He does some NBA games. Don Saunders is tossed into the mix every now and then. But across the board, you got Mike Tirico, who used to be on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
So, as you look at it, as many blacks as they played on air, Charlton, they've also eliminated that many.
Yeah.
You look at the NFL pregame show. Tom Jackson has been on there for about 24 years
He's amazing.
now.
He's amazing.
And he's a tremendous gentleman. But, you look at it, they just got rid of Keyshawn Johnson. They got rid of, who else is that, the other wide receiver?
Oh, Chris Carter. Chris Carter.
Chris Carter's gone. So when you look at the number of blacks that they've eliminated, and you replace a black with a black, okay? So you're not...
They got rid of Ray Lewis also. Ray Lewis is gone.
Ray Lewis is gone. So you're not looking to adding to the black minority part of the broadcast group.
No.
Because, hey, we got to get rid of one of you to bring one of you in. And this is ESPN, Charlton.
The worldwide leader in sports,
So if they lead by example, who else will break the ice and do more than what ESPN does? Nobody.
Well,
the great Michael Wilburn does a wonderful job on Park.
Oh, he's amazing.
But he, as good as he is, they keep him limited to a half-hour show and some NBA pregame, and he's one of the premier voices and minds in sports television, Charlton.
And they like Stephen A. Smith, but I think he's too honest for them to have him on a full show, so they bring him in segments. And speaking of segments, Big C, we're out of time again, Big C, but every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide, listen to Charlton and Big C Sports. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you're John Skipper, the president for ESPN, have some authority. Talk with Jim Brown about how you at ESPN can work to bring about equality and better opportunities in the inner cities. Don't leave it up to the black athlete. We know they're marginalized as it is. And speaking of every Monday through Friday, Real Talk, listen to Charlton and Big C Sports. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.